Hello everyone. So we just happened to have a revision session for the e-test of BIT Communication Skills EN1101, and we know that in that module we also have practical session. We have a practical session, and some of you are a bit too nervous to turn up for the practical session. So there are lots of you asking questions over the LMS whether you can miss that practical session. So let me tell you, don't miss it because it's very easy. It's actually the easiest component of the examination of EN1101. Though you think it is difficult, it is very easy. So once we have this program, I think you will understand how to do it and how to face this practical exam. So let's have a detailed discussion about it, and we thought of discussing the model paper, the model questions for the practical test that we have on the LMS. So let us start with LMS. Here I have a screenshot of the LMS of EN1101 Communication Skills. So you can see the introduction, and then I'm sure all of you have logged into this. If you have not, please log into this because this is very useful. We put everything, we upload all the content, your teaching material and everything here. So please log into this. And here model practical test part 1, of which I am going to show you now. So in this model practical test I have included similar questions that are similar to that of what you are going to get in the practical exam, what exactly you are going to get in the practical exam. They are of a very much similar nature. So by discussing this, you will be extremely ready to face the practical test. So this is what you get once you click the model practical test, and here you have the instructions, the model practical test part 1, important instructions. The duration of this test is 30 minutes. So 30 minutes for that component. There is a test 2 which is the next component, and it takes the rest of the 30 minutes. So altogether 1 hour. But this component of speaking and listening is only 30 minutes. The medium of instruction and question is English. Obviously, that's understood. This test has 6 questions, 4 listening and 2 speaking. So it's very easy, only 6 questions. And they say to answer all questions, and the listening type questions will be of MCQ mode. So use your headphones. Remember students, you will be provided with a headphone with a mic for this test. So first of all, check with your invigilators. You have in the system also, examination system also, you have a way of checking whether they are working properly. So first of all, check whether the headphone is functioning well, and the mic, also the mic, not only the headset, the mic as well, whether it's functioning well, because you need both of them. Use the microphone and record your answers for the speaking type questions. Make sure to save your recordings. Now, this is something most of you forget. So don't wait until the invigilator checks this himself or herself. You check yourself whether what you have saved is recorded, whether it is saved by you, because most of you speak to the mic and you record your answers and you forget to save your answers. Make sure you save your recordings, and when you have finished and have no changes to be made to your answers, click Submit All and Finish button. So if you have no more changes to be made, click the button Submit All and Finish. So that's final. If you need technical help, please inform the invigilator immediately. So there'll be a timer in this test. Time limit is 30 minutes, and you can click and go into the test. Now this is what it looks like. It's a screenshot. Use the microphone, read the question below. Click the record button and record your answer. then save your answer. So as I said, you get a headphone, use the microphone of that and you speak to the microphone and record your answer. Now for that you have this red record button which I have pointed with an arrow. This is the record button that you have to click. You cannot record anything until you click this button. So it is important that you click this button first and then you speak to the mic. So there you go. So once you click the record button, you speak to the mic, and then when you have finished speaking, don't forget you have to click the stop button. The stop button, the clicking of the stop button is extremely important to save what you have recorded. So let's see what we have next here. Yes. Now what you have been talking to the mic has been recorded in this stage. This stage shows that it has been recorded, and the play button, you can click on the play button and listen to what you have recorded. Now please make it a point to listen to what you have recorded, because you have a lot of time. You can very well manage within the given time. So because we have allocated this time for you to listen to your own answer as well, because this is where you realize your own mistakes. So please listen to your own recordings, click the play button and listen to what you have recorded. So we noticed in the past few years most of you have not done that. So as a result, what has happened was, now in instances where they ask you to speak 3 sentences, only 1 sentence has been recorded. Now what has happened was, you have clicked the record button. I go back. You have clicked the record button. After clicking the record button, you have spoken 1 sentence and you have clicked the stop button. Now you cannot do that. If you are asked to record 3 sentences, you have to speak the 3 sentences at a stretch and then click the stop button. If you record only one sentence will be recorded, will be saved. So you can't do like you record 1 sentence, stop button, record the 2nd sentence, stop button, and record the 3rd sentence, stop button. What will happen is, only the last sentence you uttered will be recorded. So remember, this is very important. Speak all 3 sentences. If you are required to speak 3 sentences, speak all 3 sentences at a stretch together and then click the stop button. And after that, you won't make any mistake. If you play and hear what you have recorded, then if you made a mistake, you can realize it yourself and re-record again. You can do it all over again. So don't lose this opportunity. Use the play button and listen to what you have recorded. Right, this is how you scroll into the next question. There is a next button below, or on the left on the navigation panel you can see the 6 questions. You can click the number you like and go to that question. So that is how you navigate from one question to the other. So on the exam date, like, it will not be the LMS, this is the LMS. Maybe you'll get a different interface, and still it will be very much like this. You can use this type of navigation to go to the next question. So I did not explain any questions in this practical test. All this time I was talking about how it could be done, because we have noticed that loads of you make loads of mistakes in this practical session. This was the question which I have put onto a slide in the speaking test. The question is, say something about your garden in 3 sentences. So isn't that pretty easy? You can make the simplest sentence and say, it's all right as long as it is a complete sentence, as long as it is grammatically correct. Even though there are slight mistakes, if it gives some meaning, you'll get marks for what you have done. So do not be afraid. You can simply say 3 things about your garden, but in full sentences. So I have suggested an answer here. My garden is a very nice place and it has lots of trees and herbs. So big trees and little plants, herbs, and third sentence, lots of birds, butterflies and other small animals visit my garden. So this is very easy. You can make a basic sentence out of it. So do not think that the practical test is difficult. It is this easy. So what else can you say about your garden if I go into this question? Yeah, you can say my garden is beautiful. You remember when you were a kid, you wrote lots of essays about my garden, my house. So just imagine this is one of them, right? My garden is very beautiful. You can speak about the trees you have there. You know, there are lots of fruit trees. Then there is a jack tree in the garden. And there are lots of flowers. You can talk about the types of flowers you have there. And you can talk about the types of animals who come there. You can even say, I like to sit in my garden, or I like to plant trees in the garden, or every evening I water the plants of the garden, or I like to weed my garden, which means removing the unnecessary plants, the weed. So you can say lots of things. I like to sit under a tree in the evening. I like to read a book in the garden. So likewise, you can say lots of things. Not only 3 sentences, you can say lots of things about a garden. So all you have to do is say meaningful sentences. It should be complete sentences. Be aware of the clarity. Now, for example, you should speak in a very clear voice. Now, what happens is most of you, when you come there, you feel a bit embarrassed. You think that the other person will hear or the other person will get disturbed, but it will not happen. Because the other person is also wearing headsets, and he may be either listening to the listening test or he may be speaking his speaking test. So don't worry like that. Don't be shy. Please speak clearly and audibly, because most of you try to speak very softly in these questions, and as a result what we hear is only noise. So don't do that. So speak very clearly and say all 3 sentences at a stretch, as I told you, without stopping. So marks will be deducted for serious grammatical mistakes, for serious pronunciation errors. So remember to speak every word clearly. You don't need to have very good sentences, good in the sense like you don't need to have very sophisticated stuff. Like even if you have simple sentences spoken correctly, spoken clearly, audibly, that'll do, that'll be enough. So do not be afraid, speak up and replay and check your answer, check what you have recorded. And as I said, there are lots of things you can say about your garden. So this is just one question. So every question in the question base of the practical test is somewhat similar to this. So it is not difficult at all. So we'll move on to next question on screen. It is a screenshot once again. Now this is also a speaking test question of the picture describing type, where you have to describe a picture. You have to say, describe this picture in 3 sentences. So it's very easy. Once again, how can you describe this in 3 sentences? As usual, you click the record button, say the 3 sentences, describe the picture in 3 sentences. Describe means you say something about this picture and it has to be relevant to the picture. You cannot say things that are not in the picture. It has to be relevant and it has to be meaningful. So say all 3 sentences without stopping. You can pause, but do not, without stopping means like do not click the stop button. Say all 3 sentences to the microphone, speak to the microphone, all 3 sentences at a stretch, and then click the stop button and then you save your answer there. So what can you say about this picture? If you take a good look at this picture, yeah, just a couple of seconds to have a good look at this picture, so you can see some people there. So that's what you need to do. You need to describe what you see here in the picture, and that's very easy. Okay, so this is the question. Look at the given picture and describe it in 3 sentences. So it's very easily described in 3 sentences. You can use more sentences, not only 3. Yes, I have some suggestive answers here. 1, a lady is weeding the garden. What do you mean by weeding? Just removing the unnecessary, the wild plants. There is a little girl holding some plants. There are 5 people in this picture. So let's see whether I'm correct. Moving back to the picture. So there's a lady weeding the garden. So you can even say there is a lady cutting grass. And there is a girl holding on to some wild plants or to some plants. And there are 5 people in the picture. 4 can be very clearly seen. And there is another person which is not very clear, but if you look carefully you can see there's another person according to our point of view behind. The man, they are wearing a red t-shirt. So in what other ways can you describe this picture? Yeah, you can say there is a woman in a blue t-shirt. You can say that she's bending and cutting some grass. And then there is a little girl wearing a striped top, and there are 3 flowers on the t-shirt or the top that she's wearing. You can even say she's wearing pants with Hello Kitty on that. Yeah, you can describe it as however you like. And you can also say that there is another lady wearing a white t-shirt and a black bottom. She's also working in the garden, and they are trying to clean the garden or do something, or maybe plant something there. And you can see grass and other trees. There is a banana tree in the background, and then there is a man wearing a red t-shirt, and there's another person with him, but we cannot see clearly who it is. And you can say maybe it's not a scene in Sri Lanka, they look like foreigners, but also from another Asian country. You can say all that. And you can also say it is something happening at the daytime, maybe in the morning, maybe in the evening, towards the evening. So there are lots of ways of describing this picture. So not only 3 sentences, you can use quite a lot of sentences to describe the picture. So what we see here is you have to speak complete sentences, and they have to be meaningful. Now you can't make wild guesses which is not there in the picture, which is difficult to guess in the picture. For example, you can't say this is a scene from Vietnam, because you cannot be sure. So you can say maybe some Asian country. Likewise, don't make wild guesses, but you can describe it. Meaningful sentences, complete sentences, and the clarity should be there, audibility should be there. So do not be afraid to speak up and describe the picture in 3 sentences. So we have a lot of pictures for the test like this, which can be very, very easily described. Now sometimes some of you, when you try to describe it, you might come across something that you do not know to explain in English, that you have to struggle to find words. So omit that and think of something that you can speak and say it in a simple way, and that is enough. Yes, the next questions, I would say the next set of questions are of the listening type, which I do not need to describe here, because all you have to do is listen to this audio clip. You can click on that audio clip and now select the correct answer that fills the blank of the given sentence. So there is a sentence here with a blank. So you have to listen to this audio clip and find the answer that fills in the blank correctly. So during the time that is given to you. You can listen to this audio any amount of times within your time frame, and when you have the ability to listen to it any amount of times, which means you can find the answers very easily, and they are of the MCQ type, you can easily click, and there is only one correct answer. Click on the answer that you think is correct after listening. So I have basically explained the format of the practical test of part 1 of the practical test, which is listening and speaking, and I hoped that it encouraged you to be present for the practical test, because most of you are very reluctant to. So please come to the practical test, and it is, as I said, it is easy. So go through the model questions. I didn't go through all of them because there should be some stuff left for you to do as well. So go through them and practice them very well. Go through the LMS, all the content that we have uploaded there, and then there are small activities, little assignments for you to do, and then you have the compulsory assignments. Do all of that, because all of that will contribute in helping you to do all these exams. So thank you so much. I wish you all the very best.